Welcome to the Wickedly Smart Women podcast, featuring stellar conversations with emerging and established wickedly smart women. Thanks for joining us today as we celebrate the wickedly smart women who are committed, care deeply, and have the courage to take action and create change all around the world. Now here's your host, Emerald Greenforest.
Welcome to another episode of the Wickedly Smart Women podcast, where we celebrate wickedly smart women and provide our listeners with a wealth of wisdom, along with immediately actionable steps to be smarter, spunkier, and more successful in their impact and their leadership. This is your host, Emerald Greenforest, and today we welcome our special guest, Jules Arnes. Jules launched Infinite Gold skincare products in 2016 when she felt a calling to create the most advanced natural organic skincare line to promote healthy skin, healing, DNA repair, and include powerful anti-aging properties. After working for decades as a healer, Jules truly knows what drives healing. It isn't combining the latest chemical cocktail. It is using elements from our natural world to truly heal from the inside out. With over 25 years of experience and a vast background in education in multiple healing modalities and natural health, Jules has numerous certifications and accreditations. Currently, Jules speaks at local and national conferences on natural health and healing, and in 2017, she presented at the Body, Mind, Spirit Festival in Loveland, Colorado, on how scalar energy heals, transforms, and reprograms human cells, DNA, and reverses disease. She is also a Diksha giver and leads a local Divine Mind meditation group based on oneness blessings. Jules is a published author and is passionate about helping others heal. And I had the distinct pleasure of meeting her in the flesh, in person, at the New Media Summit in September of 2019. And then I saw her again at the most recent New Media Summit in March. She is one of those people that as soon as we met, we had that instant knowing, that instant bond, that instant energetic connection. And she is definitely somebody that I wanted to share with the Wickedly Smart Women community ASAP. So thank you so much for being on the show, Jules. It is my pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's such an honor to be here.
Well, beautiful one, I want to hear about the calling, because that is something that many wickedly smart women experience in one form or another. And ultimately, I believe the calling is the calling into some kind of a leadership role. And so, for you, the calling was specific to helping people have their outer appearance be in alignment with their inner radiance in some way. And so I'd love to hear your path to getting to the calling first, and then what happened for you when the calling came and the responsibility was to answer it?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. So I'm trying to think where I would start. I think I was born awake. I didn't really understand that I was until much later, because I never really had my awakening. I was just always that way. But of course, when you're little, you just think everybody's that way. And I think it was probably around middle school that I started to realize that wasn't true. And it was kind of a traumatic thing for me. But one of my superpowers, you could say, is tracing energy. And when I was younger, and I still actually to this day have a learning disability, and I went almost through third grade before they realized I wasn't reading, because I could pick up on the energy pattern of the class and the teacher and pretend like I knew what was going on. And so, of course, as I got a little older, I went naturally right into vibrational therapy and natural healing, because that's just who I was. And I've been doing it. I think I got my Reiki master when I was 17 and have been learning different healing modalities pretty much ever since. So I thought that was my calling. This is what I'm here to do. I'm a healer. And I went on that path until about 5 years ago when my best friend passed away of a rare form of cancer. And it was a really beautiful experience watching him pass over. He was in hospice for 30 days and I sat by his side for 30 days. And as he started to cross over, we just had this pact where I knew that we were just starting something. And he never said it, but it was like this language that we had that was going on a much higher level. And the day he passed away, I left his side to go home and take a shower, and he passed while I was gone. And I got in the car to drive back over, and of course I was crying. And he said, "Don't be sad or you won't be able to hear me." And I instantly connected to the vibration of where he was. And I never was sad again. And we started our journey together. And our journey led us to what I call the Council of Light, which is now the council of my company. And they give me direction of things to do. So here I was, a vibrational therapist, and all of a sudden I'm being told to get this weird element and learn about scalar energy, build a scalar device. And the next thing I know, I'm being told to create a skincare line as a delivery system for specific frequencies that reprogram the cells to age in reverse, but also awaken consciousness.
Beautiful.
So that's the story.
Well, I want to stop you right there before we go to the place where you said yes to that calling. When you said that you were born awake, I love that. And what I'm hearing is that you actually woke up in middle school to the fact that not everybody around you had the same frequency, had the same vibration, had the same awareness, had the same level of consciousness. So there was a certain awakening right there. I never
thought about that. So thank you for pointing that out. That's so beautiful.
Yeah. So there's different ways of awakening, right? So for me, I was completely dead asleep until I was in my late 30s. And then I had a more spiritual awakening and activation of my own awareness. And I would say it was a germination of the me I am now and the me I'm becoming. So we are holding intention here for a big awakening for anybody who wants to receive it. So, Jules, when you had that experience with this person who passed, what I'd love to ask you is, when you started getting instruction, were you able to just immediately surrender and say, okay, I'll go that way? Or did you have any kind of personal power struggle with the divine or your council of light or the guides? Have you ever had that happen?
So I can't say I've never had that happen. I would say the point where that started to happen, because they did it in such a beautiful way where I was just given, okay, do this. Okay, do this. Now do this. I had no idea where this was leading. I mean, I actually had developed I was healing people with scalar energy and Arnes, which is the base of my skincare line. It stands for orbited rearranged monoatomic elements. And I was healing people with it, and I decided, I should make a cream so that they can put it on, because I live in a really active community where people have broken bones and all this stuff. So I was like, they can just rub it on, and then I don't have to put them in the scalar device. And I sent some to my ex-husband to use on his sore muscles. And he gets back to me 2 weeks later, and he's, "What did you send me? I look 10 years younger. Oh my God, this is the most amazing stuff. You have to do this." And I was like, "You're not supposed to put it on your face. You're supposed to put it on your muscles." And it was like this light bulb went off. And so, of course, I immediately went into counsel and asked, "Is this what I'm supposed to be doing?" And they said, yes. And he was the delivery system. And I was like, and this is a delivery system of frequencies that we will give you in specific order. And then I had my resistance because I didn't know anything about skincare. I'd never even had a facial. I was like, I am not the candidate of having a skincare line. And I really struggled with it. I didn't have any idea what I was supposed to do. And it was quite the journey. There was a lot of mistakes that were made. I'm not a business person. And here I am running this business. So it's been a challenge, but I have never not done what I was told. And of course, the more you do what you're told, the easier it gets to just follow that guidance.
I love that. I love that. You are so absolutely right. And I've lived a life guided by spirit since my spiritual awakening in 2001. And it's when I argue with what I call the upstairs team. You call it the Council of Light. I mean, informally, I call them the upstairs team, right? But when I disconnect from the upstairs team, or when I defy the upstairs team, or when I resist the upstairs team, I think the longer I go along, the less I do that, first of all. And the second thing that I will say is when I do it now, the consequences are pretty severe.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so awesome. Well, what I'd love to have you talk about now is I really feel like it would be helpful to have you maybe give a little bit for those people who are not maybe necessarily fully awake. You know, I do believe that there are people around the world who are listening to this podcast who may be those people who are the latent seeds, right? And I use the intention that the sound of my voice is going to activate and awaken people. Whenever they hear the sound of my voice, that just is a constantly running intention that it will activate and awaken latent codes in them to begin to germinate and to blossom and to flourish. But for them who are maybe just in that beginning stages, if you could talk a little bit kind of in elementary school language about scalar energy, about Arnes, and about how your body of work and your products are helping people and helping them not only to reverse age, but I'm guessing helping people in a whole bunch of other ways.
Absolutely. So with the Arnes elements, it's an element that everybody actually already has in their body, and it's not an element that's on the periodic table because it's in what they call a spin state. So because it's spinning, it's never sitting still long enough to say that this is copper or this is gold, whatever the element that's in an Arnes state. So the great thing about having an element in a spin state is that it holds life force energy. And it's being proven that it is reversing aging by repairing the DNA. So that's the baseline of my products line. And it's, of course, to evolve consciousness as well, because your cells have consciousness, and Arnes, when people take it internally and also epidermically, it is activating the higher mind. So for those people that are just starting to wake up, adding these kind of elements into your life is going to enhance your intuition. It's going to make you recognize your belief systems, and it just starts this ripple effect into really starting to channel the energy of your divine. And then having the scalar energy, all that's doing is it's taking life force energy, streaming it into a very specific, I actually stream it through something called radionics that can hold frequencies for a long enough time that that intelligence is put into the Arnes. So all that's saying is that it's talking to the Arnes, and the Arnes does what it says once it's on your skin. So I use things like repair your DNA and reverse the aging cycle, having those nutrients and minerals that we need. And then, of course, the full body balance, all of those things. You can think of it as almost like going to the acupuncturist. Anything that's out of balance, the frequency of what you're needing is what you will absorb.
Beautiful.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did a great job. You did a great job answering the question. And in fact, I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to the break right now so that we have a nice spacious time on the back end to talk even more about what you're offering in terms of the skincare line. and some of the things that have happened for people as a result of using the skincare line, and maybe what else that you might be getting from the divine council in terms of guidance moving forward from here. So, but right now we are going to take a quick break. Wickedly Smart Women, we could use some help. If you're enjoying the show and want us to stay on the air, please consider making a donation at www.wickedlysmartwomen.com. We'd also like to ask you to share with your lovely lady friends who you think might benefit from our content. Please help me out by letting your sisters, mothers, daughters, friends, and colleagues know about the show so we can serve them too. I do want to say a big thank you to all of our listeners who are downloading, rating, and reviewing. We are welcoming thousands of downloads from all over the world, and I'm going to be just a little tongue-in-cheek here. I want to shout out this week to the upstairs team and to the Divine Council of Light. And thank you for tuning in and helping me to stay attuned to my mission, and Jules to stay attuned to her mission, and everyone who's listening to get in alignment and listen in for the ease and grace. We will be right back with Jules Arnes.
The Wickedly Smart Women podcast is brought to you by the Creative Age Consulting Group. Women, are you ready for a big revenue breakthrough so you can stop working like a man and being paid like a woman? Are you ready to take the leap and go deep to claim your value and convert your wisdom to wealth? Is now the time to fulfill your mission and change the world? Creative Age Consulting Group is hired by women just like you who want to break through to their brilliance and be heard by millions while building a sustainable business model that makes bank. Please visit apply.wealthylifemethod.com to apply for an invitation-only consultation. If you have been inspired to receive support in welcoming wealth by making your most heartfelt contribution to the world, be sure to apply for a consultation today. Once again, that is apply.wealthylifemethod.com, or click in the link in the show notes to access the application.
We are back with Jules Arnes, who is the founder of Eternal Gold and her skincare line, and we are so excited that she is here. Love to have you check out more about what she is offering in terms of her products at www.eternalgoldbeauty.com. And we have something very special for you. If you use the coupon code in all capital letters, EMERALD, EMERALD, you will receive 44% off of your order. So please go ahead and put in an order for the Eternal Gold Beauty product that inspires you the most. Check in with your knowing, and your knowing will guide you in the right direction. And use the coupon code EMERALD, all in capital letters, for 44% off. We will put all of this information in the show notes, so if you're listening while you're driving the car, don't stress about it. You can get it later. So, Jules, I'd love to have you talk a little bit more about, specifically what you've created for products, how people are using these products, which one your favorite one is for yourself, or maybe your best seller, and some of the results that people have received, not just your ex-husband, in getting his aches removed and his face lifted by 10 years.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Yeah, so I would say, first of all, probably my favorite product is the Advanced Anti-Aging 24 Karat Gold Serum. It's just my go-to. But you can't do it wrong, which is the great thing is every single product has the Arnes, it has the gold, and it has the scalar frequencies. And then everyone's like, well, how do I do it? How do I put in this order? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be hard. If you want to do step by step and have this long routine, you can do that. If you want to just use one product, that works too. The great thing about the products is that they are healing the the skin and not treating the skin, because most people don't know that when you treat your skin over and over, you're actually damaging the cells. And over time, you're going to look older. It may look good for like that first month or maybe 6 weeks, and then it starts to look worse and worse. And the more you damage your cells, the harder it is for them to heal. So this product line is based on healing the skin through the Arnes nutrients, minerals, all of that wonderful stuff. So with that, I would say some of my stories, the testimonials, one of my favorites is this girl. Her name is Deb, and she wrote in saying, she was just turned 60. She went in to get her driver's license redone, and her I am statement, and I'll talk about that here in a second, was that I am improving my vision as I'm reversing aging. She went in and passed her vision test for the first time without glasses. And her picture, she looked 10 years younger than it did when she had her driver's license from the time before. She was so excited about it. It was, there was emojis going everywhere. It was just so cute. So that's one of my favorite stories. So, and I can go into some more testimonials, but because I kind of said that about the I am statement, that's a big thing that I teach. Is it's not about just slapping product on our face. It's about what are we saying to our skin cells when we're applying, or even when we're looking in the mirror, because every time we point out a wrinkle, we're telling that cell to age. But every time we're saying, I am beautiful, I am young, I am vibrant, we're telling that cell to age in reverse.
Nice. I love that. I was going to ask you to talk about what we say to ourselves about our face. So that was perfect timing. I knew that you were going to bring that in at some point. I love the awareness that you're bringing around both how we are communicating at this cellular level with our own body and the importance of communicating positive messages, because the media and, certainly the beauty industry and certainly Hollywood and just the culture has been pounding women in particular for at least the last, 50, 60 years, as long as there's been like TV shows and things like that about aging, as well as putting all these chemicals and stuff on our bodies, which are actually harming us rather than helping us. So I just really want to underscore that for the ladies who are listening. Is what you are putting on your skin, are you putting it on your skin with healing intention, or are you putting it on your skin because you've been programmed to believe that you are supposed to get old and get wrinkled and therefore need this chemical from whatever, Procter & Gamble or whoever it is that goes on your face, that then puts you into a space of having to go in the repeat cycle. Like it looks good for a little bit, but then it starts to look bad again, and now you got to go buy some more. So I just really want to appreciate what you're doing here, Jules. And I also want to say that I have used the product and really enjoyed it. And I definitely need to do a better job myself of not looking at my own, even with my thought forms, looking at my own face and criticizing what I'm seeing there, because it's kind of so subterranean. So I want to talk about also the possibility of creating a ritual. Do you also offer rituals that people can, if they decide they want to buy the entire line, where they can create I'm hearing this right now, an adoration ritual for the largest organ in their body?
Yes. And the answer is yes. And I normally I can do it in two different ways. One is when you're doing the I am statement, and it can change every day, that's fine. I am radiant, but when we start to take it a step further is when we follow that I am statement with the why, because they're conscious, like your skin actually has a consciousness, and science is proving that. And the other thing that science is proving is that reprogramming the cells is actually the number one way to look younger. It works better than any chemical, anything like that, because you actually are reversing the age of the cell. So what I like to do is say, okay, let's say it's, I am radiant. I am radiant so that I can show my love to the world. And what that does is it gives kind of that ego part of consciousness, like that part that wants to resist it, a reason why it's doing, like, okay, well, why am I radiant? But when you give it a reason why you're radiant, it opens up this whole nother level of vibration and acceptance. And so that's a really easy way to just, what do I feel like I want to be today? Well, I want to be beautiful. Why do I want to be beautiful? I want to be beautiful so that when I look in the mirror, my heart opens to the love within me. Whatever it is, whatever comes out. And then, of course, we can get a little more technical and actually go in and find the belief systems that are being held in the cells, because our cells have basically been unconscious until we start to awaken them, just like our conscious mind. And there's going to be old belief systems that we need to clear. And I have a whole program where it's called DQ, Dermal Expression Cellular Upgrade, where I go in and read the programs of the cells and clear them, and then give you homework to continue those clearings later.
Beautiful. All right. So in addition to the products, you actually also offer this program. That's great. Great to know. Beautiful. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with our lovely ladies about, maybe specifically about running a business under the direction of the Council of Light?
It is magic. I just have to say, I'll have to say, when I was little, I didn't graduate from high school. I was a horrible kid. My parents kicked me out when I was 16, and I was always told, you're never going to make it in the world, because I had a learning disability. I was just that kid that everyone's like, oh gosh. And so it took a while for me to get over the fact that I could be successful. And I always thought I had to be small. I'll just do my little healing business. I'll just do this. And then here I am, I have a global business and I have global clients and I'm doing it. And I would say my advice, or like what I would love to share with others, is get over those belief systems, because what we're here to be is limitless and expansive. And we do that by connecting to our heart and saying the next right yes. And that's really been my life for the last 5 years, is what is my next right yes? And if it's a no, I don't put a lot of attention to it, because I don't have to. Like, that's not my thing. So I just keep saying yes. I keep saying yes. And for me, over a lot of yeses, not knowing where those yeses were leading to, I just kind of looked back and was like, wow, I did that when I had no idea what I was doing, because I listened to my heart.
Beautiful. I love that. Well, one thing that I downloaded myself back in probably 2010 was SCORE, SCORE, and it's success comes organically, resulting in excitement, which leads to more success.
That gave me chills.
Scoring. I'm score. That's a score, right? Because we have been in a world that has trained us to be linear and in alignment with, actually, the reason why we've been trained to be linear was because it was in alignment with the industrial era, where they were training people to be factory workers. And now we're in a quantum world, and now we're in a world that is really what I like to call the creative age. And it's not linear. My business has never been linear. There's been ups, there's been downs, there's been sideways, there's been do this weird thing. Like, why am I doing this thing that makes no logical sense? And then the next thing you know, it's like, oh my God, I absolutely had to do that thing, but it was completely organic how it all came together. So I really appreciate what you just dropped in around that, Jules. And so thank you for that. We have to go, unfortunately. I would spend all day with you if I could, but we are at the end of the show. So if there's one more tiny little thing that you'd like to say before we go, like 1 or 2 words. I'd love to hear them, and then we're going to close.
Okay, so what came to me instantly was allow yourself to expand beyond the filing cabinet in your mind and see what happens. Create from the unknown space.
I love that. I think that's as much for me as it is for any of our listeners. So thank you, Jules. I really appreciate that. You have been wonderful, and I look forward to hearing about all of the lovely ladies who have accessed your magnificent, magical, eternal gold beauty line. Thanks again for being with us. Listeners, we love feedback. Please let us know what you thought of today's show by calling into our listener line at 540-402-0043, extension 4343. Or send in questions or guest suggestions to listeners at wickedsmartwomen.com. We might even give you a shout out on the show. Thanks for tuning in. Keep your ears open, and remember, you are a wonderful woman.
Thanks for tuning in, downloading, and listening. Be sure to review and rate Wickedly Smart Women on Apple Podcasts and share with other women who can benefit from today's episode. Wickedly Smart Women is the premier podcast series for informing, activating, and inspiring the leader who carries profound wisdom and knows that now is the time to welcome wealth. We welcome your feedback and guest suggestions and invite you to subscribe to our mailing list to be notified of each episode at wickedlysmartwomen.com.